This morning we're going to talk about you cannot serve two masters. In the Bible, in the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 13, it says, "No servant can serve two masters. He will either hate one and love the other. He will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and man." So what this is telling us, how many times as a child, well, a lot of time we like to go ride the teeter-totter, don't we? Well, we have a teeter-totter here this morning made out of balloons. Can all of you see it? You know? And when we teeter-totter, you go one way and the other way, right? But in life, sometimes people say, "Oh, I can serve God and man." So have you ever tried to balance the teeter-totter? Both people on it? It's hard to do, isn't it? It'll either go one way or the other, won't it? See, look here. It's going down that way, right? It goes back and forth. Right? So we have a hard time balancing things. If we try to say we can serve God and man, it doesn't work. Like on a teeter-totter, it will go one way and then it will go the other. But to balance it, it doesn't work. You cannot serve God and man. You'll love one or hate the other. Right? So if we don't, what ends up happening, we go one way or the other. If you start saying, "I can follow God and I can follow man," you'll end up following man and getting away from God. So what we have to learn to do is just follow God. People in life, many times they'll say, "Oh, I can serve God. I can still serve God and do the things of the world." But the things of the world would destroy. There's so many people that are behind bars today who said, "Oh, I can serve God and man. I can play around with drugs on the weekend. I can still go do a few things that the world does and still be blessed." You cannot. So remember, the most important thing for us is to be obedient to God. We can't serve God and man. We're not windshield wipers either. You see windshield wipers, they do one thing. They wash back and forth. But we're not windshield wipers for Christ. We're to be followers of Jesus Christ, sold out for God. And that's the kind of people God wants us to be. He wants us to forget about the things of the world and to follow Him. And those that follow God, they're blessed. That doesn't mean they don't have some problems. But one thing for sure, if you're being obedient to God, God will take care of you in all the storms of life that you go through. But if you're disobedient to God, you have a lot of extra problems. There's a man that I know of who followed God for a while, but he thought he could go back into the world. And he worked in a ministry for many years and all those things. But he went back to the world. He went back to the garbage. And so what's happening now is he's going to prison. And more than likely, he will spend the rest of his life there in prison. In fact, there's some people here in the congregation that know him personally. I'm not going to say his name. But so sin always destroys. Can we remember that? Sin always destroys. And we're not to go away from God. We're to run to God. Can we remember that? Let's always run to God. Let's always obey God. All right? And we're not teeter-totter Christians. Okay? Can we remember that? So how do we become a Christian? By putting our faith and trust in Jesus Christ and Him alone. And so we cannot serve two masters. That means you're going to be faithful to one and not faithful to the other. If you were playing the game of baseball, can you play on two teams? No. The coach wouldn't want you, would they? They want you to play for one team, right? So it's the same way in God's kingdom. You're either on God's team or you're not. You're not half and half. We're not half and half Christians. So let's remember that. Let's just obey God. And we'll miss out on a lot of extra problems that God never intended for us to go through. All right? So thank you, kids. And remember, obey God, right?